This is The Spot, a BYU-Idaho radio production where we talk about what you're talking about. Today's hosts are Soraya Bosted and Natalie Lundquist. The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university and are solely the opinions of the hosts. Welcome back to The Spot podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Lundquist. As always, I'm here with my amazing co-host,
Soraya Bosted.
And today we are going to talk about weird fears that we have or had as kids. I feel like this is something that people don't talk about because they're embarrassed.
I feel, yes. And I feel like people should talk about it because it gives you an interesting look into what they were definitely like as a child.
No,
Or now,
definitely. It brings you so much perspective on the type of person someone is. And it's also just it helps you get to know someone so much better. And it's just so fun to talk about. I'm at the point in my life where I have zero shame about anything in my life. So for me, I'm this is a thing. But except for one story, but that's not important.
Well, it's also fun, specifying, weird fears. You're I don't want to force you to tell me your deepest, darkest secrets. But,
right.
What's the weirdest thing you're afraid of? Because that usually has an interesting story.
Right. No, yeah. It's you don't have to tell me your trauma, but what are you scared of?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because I feel like as adults, we take so much pride on not being afraid of things.
Oh.
It's and I feel like little kids look at that and then they feel bad about being scared of something. But it's I feel like in adults' minds, as you grow up, you get it in your mind fears are for kids.
Yeah.
Adults can't have fears. But it's no, everyone's scared of something.
Well, we were talking about this at work yesterday with all of our coworkers. We were just talking about fears and stuff. And I was I'm very anxiety ridden. Technically, I'm afraid of everything if you look deeply into it.
I get that. I missed that conversation.
Yeah, it went real deep. Real quick. It was a ton of us too.
That's what I get for not coming in the afternoons to work.
It's okay.
And just working in the mornings. Dang. No, yeah, I don't know. I'm the same way. I have been diagnosed with anxiety and it's major anxiety, not I feel like that's the problem with anxiety is people are always oh, I feel anxious.
Yeah.
But it's deeper than that.
Yeah, mine was just generalized anxiety.
Yeah.
Which is still disorder and still a thing.
Yeah.
But it's not
sure.
major. I can control it.
I try to control it.
I think you're doing great.
Oh, thank you. That makes me feel so good about my life. But it's with anxiety, it's you really deep down, in the root of it, you really are afraid of so many things. But because you either put up barriers or you have plans set in place, you don't recognize that you're afraid of those things, even if you are.
And you can always trace those fears back to yourself.
Definitely.
You're that's me. I know I can do it. That's me. Whereas fears and phobias and stuff, that's
right.
deep-seated other stuff. That's not you. That's just fear.
Yeah. No, exactly.
And there's
I
probably
agree.
some nice scientific explanation for it, but I don't know it.
Yeah. No, I can. I completely agree. I don't know. So, what was your absolute weirdest fear growing up?
So it's still kind of around now. Just because my parents never really they understood it and they never forced me to confront it. I don't like mascots.
You know what?
I
That's
was
fair.
Terrified of them when I was younger, and I'm still uneasy around them today. When I was younger, it was so much worse.
That's fair.
So much worse. But it was bad. We were at a hockey game, a local hockey game where I'm from. And they have an eagle mascot. And it's a really good animatronic eagle mascot. And the beak moves.
Oh.
They got really excited to see a kid. And they came to say hi to me. And I sprinted across the rink. I was gone. My dad was like, I looked down and you just weren't there. And that's not the only story of me running away from a mascot. It happened again when we were at WSU for my dad's master's program. We went to a basketball game.
Yeah.
And they got so excited to see kids because it's usually just college kids.
Right.
And my sister was all for it. And my dad's like, you were on the other side of the court, cowering behind the bleachers. And I'm like, multiple times, and you guys didn't think to look into it? They're like, we weren't around mascots enough to, like, really be worried about it.
I love that. Honestly, that's fair, though. Like, this thing that should not be giant and should not be walking on two legs or speaking or dancing is coming up and doing all three. Like,
yep.
I kind of get that.
Yeah.
That is terrifying in the root of it. I'm surprised not more kids are scared of mascots.
Dude, I think I was the one who, like, had a genuine, like, phobia. Like, I would
Dang.
cry around them. Like, I would scream around them.
Dang.
I've gotten a lot better now that, like, I understand what mascots are.
That's fair.
But I'm still, like, uneasy around them.
Yeah.
Like, they still make me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which I feel like most things, if you had a childhood fear, can, like, stick around and you can get, like, slightly uncomfortable around them.
Yeah. No, I get that. Oh my gosh. That's crazy, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Mine, I feel like the one that first comes to mind, because it was a big one growing up. It's not present anymore. I promise. I have grown since then. I was terrified of, like, soap bubbles.
Oh.
So not, like, blowing bubbles, but, like, bubble bath bubbles.
Oh.
So I'd be, like, when I was a kid, I'd be, like, taking a bath, and the bubbles would come toward me, and I would, like, push them away. I'm like, no, it can't. I don't know why.
Interesting.
I was genuinely terrified.
Did you just
of
not
bubbles.
want them to, like, touch you?
Yeah,
Or-
I don't know if it was just, like, the feeling of it on my skin or what it was, but I didn't like them.
That's interesting.
Yeah. The only thing that's kind of prevalent still with that is, like, if I'm in a hot tub and it's foaming up way too
Ooh,
much,
yeah.
then it bugs me, so I'll, like, push it away. But
So maybe it is it touching your skin, like that was the root of it.
maybe that's what I'm thinking, and I don't know if it's, like, based on my ADHD or what it is, but I was genuinely terrified of bubbles to the point where, like, my mom could not put, like, any bubble bath in.
Dang.
And, like, if I was, like, washing my hair or whatever, I had to make sure that, like, it wasn't enough that it would cause a lot of bubbles in the bath. Like, it was bad.
Dang.
Yeah,
That's
it was
interesting.
weird. I wonder if there's a word for that. I want to look that up now.
There might be.
Uno momento.
Okay.
Word for fear of soap bubbles. Oh, it's the fear of, like, clusters of small holes. It's
Oh.
trypophobia.
It's that one?
It's mixed in with that one apparently. Oh, but there's another one that eboliophobia, I guess. It's both of them, I guess. Interesting. You learn something new every day. Yeah, I don't know why, but I was just terrified of them growing up.
Yeah. Interesting. I've never heard of that, so, like, that's interesting.
Yeah. I've never heard of anyone else who's experienced it, so I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But
It's all good. Yeah. No. My second one.
Mhm.
That was, like, I don't want to say it's had a pretty big impact on my life because I'm not scared of it. But if my parents are doing it, which makes it sound so much worse, it's vacuuming.
Okay.
It's vacuuming.
Woo!
I know. That makes it sound worse. No. When I was little, I didn't like the vacuum. And I would hide behind the couch when my parents would vacuum. And then I'd run to the other side instead of getting on the couch.
Right.
You know, because I was 2 and lacked common everything.
Right.
But, like, I can vacuum now. I'm fine with people vacuuming now. But if either of my parents are vacuuming, I am on the couch and my toes are up.
Wow.
I don't know why. I've been like that my entire life.
Interesting.
And, like, they didn't chase me with it or anything. They would giggle when I would run around because it was
Right.
funny to see a toddler sprint across the room to avoid a vacuum. that
Right. Yeah.
Obviously wasn't going to hurt her.
Right.
But, like, I can vacuum fine. I guess if my siblings do it, I'm a little careful. But that's more of, like, I don't trust my siblings to not run into me for fun.
Oh, I feel that.
But, like, if my friends or roommates are doing it, I don't think anything of it. I'm fine with the vacuum. Like, the vacuum doesn't scare me. I guess it's just, like, an instinctual response.
That's fair.
I made my parents sound awful there. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. I love you so much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been scared of the vacuum. I don't like the noise of it. But I think that's more of just an overstimulation thing.
Yeah.
That if a vacuum's going off, I like put my AirPods in or I plug my ears because I do not like the noise of it.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Interesting.
But, like, yeah, I'm 21 and my mom will be vacuuming when I'm home. And I'll, like, just sit somewhere else. And my parents are like, you're an adult. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
That's funny. I don't know. I feel like when I have kids, I'm going to convince them that I'm scared of the vacuum or that I don't like the vacuum. So anytime they're mad at me, they'll just vacuum.
That works.
Be like, ha, I got you to clean.
Fair enough. I mean, whatever works, you know?
Right. It'll trick them to not having a fear of vacuums.
Yeah.
So it'll be like, ha, Mom's afraid of the vacuum. I'm mad at her. Let's use the vacuum all over the house.
Clean house. A little overstimulating, but clean house.
Clean house. Oh, yeah. It would definitely be overstimulating.
But
I'd put my AirPods in, have my hair over so my kids couldn't see it, act afraid that they're vacuuming. They would just give me a death stare as they're cleaning my home.
A death stare as they're vacuuming.
Be like, you made me angry. Be like, oh, did I? I'm terrified of you.
You're winning right now.
Like, you're 5 years old. I'm terrified of you. Oh, I can't wait to have children. I don't know. I think a big one for me now, I mean, this has been a thing ever since I was a kid. I don't remember what the exact word is. I learned it at one point and then I forgot it because I forget things easily. Let me see. Trypanophobia or something. So it's a fear of needles.
Okay.
But for me is I have a very intense, like, deathly fear of medical needles. And it's because, like, I didn't used to. Like, I had to, as a kid, I had to go, like, get blood tests done and shots and everything like that. But there was one time when I was 12, because I was working on getting allergy tests, and because we just couldn't figure out what I was allergic to. And we'd already done the environmental one, and they did, like, the cat scratch, like, poking one. And that was bad. But so they also had to get the blood test done. And just to, like, make it valid that I was allergic to these things. And I don't know if the lady who did it was new or what, but I was sitting there for probably half an hour while she just poked at one of my veins over and over and over and didn't get any blood. I'm 12. She's just keeps putting it in and taking it out of one arm. And then she's like, oh, well, we're not getting any blood there. So we're going to try the other arm. Another 30 minutes of just poking me with this needle, not getting any blood. And that's the first time that ever happened. Like, everyone else I've ever gotten blood tests from have always told me, like, oh, yeah, your veins are, like, really prominent. Like, they're really easy to get blood from. This lady could not. And that just, it traumatized me to the point where it's like a few summers ago, I had to go get a bunch of blood tests done for something else. And it was the worst summer of my entire life, to the point where my mom started documenting it on Instagram because she thought it was funny.
Oh my gosh.
Love you, Mom. And like I remember there was one doctor we went to that they had a sign that said beware of vampires. And I was like, oh, awesome. That makes me feel better. Like, great. And then I remember, I think it was 2 summers ago, I think I did it over a winter break. Actually, I don't remember when I did it. I got my wisdom teeth out.
Yeah.
And I had 2. They were both on this side. That's my left side since you can't see me. I forget that our audience can't see us. Love that for me. I one on the upper left, one on the bottom left. And I didn't realize that they were coming in because my dentist had told me that I only had one on top and nothing was there. So I was like, okay, it's fine. Like I can wait a little bit before I go. But then I was getting really bad pain on the bottom of my mouth. And I was like, what the heck? And so I finally go to the dentist and they were like, they told me, they're like, oh yeah, your bottom wisdom tooth has like fully grown in. So I experienced teething for the second time in my life where I actually remember it, and it was awful.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's so painful. So I was like, awesome. And he's like, well, we can get you into the surgeon to get your wisdom teeth taken out tomorrow. And I was like, I'm going on a plane in 2 days to go back to Idaho. That's a no. And so I think that was over in a break. And so when I got home in April, we had it scheduled. And I went and this doctor, I like prepped him. I told him, I'm like, hey, this is a situation. I need you to like either turn on the TV or like talk to me, like engage me in a conversation. So I'm not focused on what you're doing. And he's like, okay. So he starts talking to me. He like starts prepping my right arm. And it like freaked me out because he was touching me. And he's like, don't worry, like I'm not putting the needle in yet. You're okay. And of course I'm stupid and I look down and he's putting the needle in. I was like, you lied to me. And I like immediately got woozy. And he's like, you're not going to pass out on me yet, are you? And I was like, no, I'm fine. And then I don't remember anything after that until I woke up. And I was like, awesome. So it's like, yeah, medical and then like when I went and got my COVID vaccine, my first two, I felt so bad for those nurses.
Yeah.
Because I just can't. And like I tense up immediately when needle comes. And they're like, okay, just relax your arm. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. I'm like hyperventilating as they're trying to give me the vaccine. They finally do. The second time I had to like sit down for like 20 minutes because I thought I was going to pass out and or throw up. It was super bad.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oof.
I'm lucky with needles, whereas like I don't like them touching me. But if I'm not looking at it touching me, I'm fine. Like I don't care if it's coming near me, everything. I just can't look.
That's fair.
Like I can't look at my blood being drawn. I can't look at getting shots. Like when I got the vaccine, I couldn't. I just like turned my head the other way because I'm fine.
Yeah.
If I don't see it. It's if
Right.
I see it that I tense up and become uncomfortable, which
That's
I think
fair.
is just also like something sharp coming at me, instinctual response.
I feel like that's a normal, like,
Yeah.
I feel like everyone kind of has that instinctual thing. Whereas me, it's like, if I know I'm going to get a needle in my body, I freak out. Like, I'm tense on the way there.
Yeah, that's my best friend in the entire world has a huge fear of needles.
And like, I remember when I went to get my second vaccine, I was the one driving because I had to go when my parents were at work. And I had to sit down for a while because I'm like, I'm not okay to drive home right now.
Yeah.
Like, this is bad. And then I remember in high school, it was my senior year, they had changed all the vaccines that you need to graduate.
Oh,
So I had to go and get like 6 more vaccines so that I could graduate high school.
it was so just going off of that, like really funny. It did my first year in college. I had to do a checkup appointment because I was having some health issues.
Right.
And the nurse looked at my chart, looked at my mom and went, why doesn't she have this vaccine? And my mom's like, what do you mean, why doesn't she have this vaccine? And the nurse was like, she shouldn't be allowed to go to college without this vaccine. How did she get in? And so I had to take a vaccine that completely just slipped under the rug.
Oh, that is
like,
so funny.
18.
Oh,
That I
that's so
definitely should have
funny.
taken when I was like 12. Because it just...
That's hilarious, actually.
It's hilarious.
That's funny.
She's like, obviously, it's just like one of those precautionary
Right.
vaccines, like, that exist. But she needs it. Like, it's
Right.
not something she can go without.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay.
No, it's so funny for me because, like, I've always been more of a masculine person. And I act all tough and I'm like, I'm the tough person, all this stuff. The minute I know I'm about to get a needle in my body, I'm a baby. 100%. And it's like at the point my mom will buy me ice cream after I have to get a shot or blood work or anything like that. And then like the time I had to get 6 more vaccines in high school so I could graduate high school, at the end, like my dad took me and I like had my headphones in, like listening to music, trying to calm myself down. She did the shots and I'm like bawling by the end of it. And we get out and it was at a pediatrician because I didn't have a doctor at that point. And so at the pediatrician, they have like the bowl of suckers. So we get out there and my dad looks at me and my dad likes teasing me, but he also like does it from a place of caring. And he like looks at me, he's like, do you want a sucker? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
So he grabbed me a sucker and I went home just like sucking on my sucker. And then he made fun of me the whole time. But it was, I'm like, that is just the one thing. I'm like, I don't think I'll ever stop being afraid of that.
That's a very valid fear, though.
Yeah.
A lot of people are afraid of needles.
And my boyfriend needs to get used to the fact that I will need to be babied after after getting poked and prodded with a medical needle. So that's fun. I'm gonna have to get like blood work or something after I graduate, and I'm gonna make him go with me, and then I'm gonna be like, baby, I want ice cream. Please. So he's gonna be like, okay, I'll get you ice cream. So funny. I don't know. I'm trying to think of any other fears that.
Well, all the other fears I have aren't weird. They're just genuine fears of mine that, like, I don't want to say impact my Oh, okay, I guess this is kind of weird. And it's not really a fear of mine. It's just, like, makes me uncomfortable.
Right.
I don't like taking off or landing in planes. I don't like the feeling. Well, okay, taking off isn't bad. I don't like landing. I don't like it when the plane instantly touches the ground. I have to be, like, prepared for when we're starting to land so I can like tense up. I don't know why. I just really don't like it when we land. Like everything else is okay. I mean, I don't like turbulence, but
that's fair.
But like landing, I can't do it. I like get all tensed up and stuff. It's really weird.
That is weird. I'm like looking up a list of weird fears to see if I have any of these, but I don't think I've ever had these. We did post an Instagram story asking you guys some weird fears you've had, and we did only get one response. So thank you for the person that responded. They have a fear of wind, which is interesting. Like I kind of get it, but at the same time I don't. Like, it's very valid, first of all.
Yeah.
You're valid.
I'm just,
but it's like I don't like the noise of wind.
Yeah, is it like the noise? Is it what it does?
I don't
Is
know.
It hitting the trees against the windows?
That is a good question. If you're the one that responded, we are very curious in exactly what your fear entails. So comment on this podcast if you want to, or reach out to our Instagram and let us know. I don't know if I have any more weird fears. Do you have any more weird fears?
No, the rest of them are just like legit fears.
Yeah.
That like have background and stuff.
Yeah, it's fair. Okay, well, I think that's it for our fears.
Oh, heck yeah. So the next portion of this podcast, we are going to be live from campus, and we are going to be asking random students we see throughout campus what their weird fears they have now or as a child are.
Enjoy this montage.
My weirdest fear as a child was, like the steal your nose game?
Yeah.
I hated that game and it scared me to death. Yeah, I hated when people did it to me and it drove me crazy.
That makes sense though.
Thanks.
Had really weird ones when we started.
Me too. I actually saw a meme about this too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's just like we were all scared of quicksand for some reason. And then we
Acid rain?
Acid rain.
You think it's a huge problem?
Exactly. So
Let's be honest, it kind of is.
That's fair.
yeah, it's
Catching on fire. If I had a penny for every time I was told to stop, drop, and roll, but I haven't stopped, dropped, and rolled.
submarine.
Oh, dude, yeah.
For some reason, I was always scared of that.
Interesting.
That's fair.
Being under the water.
So I have a really weird fear of large sea creatures. So sometimes I like to take cold showers in the morning. It helps wake me up, refreshing, you know what I mean? But if I close my eyes while I'm having a cold shower, I will see a shark come right at me, or a big whale. Big whales are terrifying too. Yeah.
I'm afraid of shrimp, more specifically dead shrimp. Because if you bite into them, they're like stringy with like veins, and it's terrifying and gross, and it tastes like ocean. And feet and also birds.
When I was really little, I was terrified of Johnny Depp. Still am a little bit.
Okay, can I get like background on that?
Okay, so when I was really little, I would watch like Into the Woods with Johnny Depp as the wolf, and that part when he's like dressed as the granny in the bed, and he's like got the blanket, and like as a little girl, that scared me, and still to this day.
I was scared of like pimples or zits on people when I was younger. Like I don't know why, it just like it made me super scared of them. Like my aunt one time had one like right here on her mouth. I was probably like 3 or 4, but I was really scared for some reason. But yeah, and that like kind of stuck with me for a little while when I was younger. Yeah.
I don't know if this counts as a weird fear, but definitely.
Yeah.
Weird fear, lakes and the ocean.
Oh, I get that.
So like, you can't see the bottom of whatever, how deep, I don't care. No, you don't trust whatever's down there. There could be literally anything down there. If we've only discovered like however many percentages of the ocean, and the rest is unknown, that's bull crap. I'm not going near that.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this podcast and that fun little montage of weird fears that people on campus have or had as kids. We're curious, do you guys have any weird fears that you have now or had as a kid? Let us know by commenting on the podcast, share it around, or even messaging us on our Instagram page. We would love to hear what you guys have to say. To end off this podcast, we have another positive or inspirational quote, which I think kind of fits along with the theme of this podcast a little bit. This one's by Dylan Morin, and it says, "You should be alive as you can until you're totally dead."
Oh my gosh.
I know. Kind of a darker quote, but still positive and inspirational, I'd say. Let's hope that doesn't evoke fear in you guys. So just think about that. Live your life. Have fun. Do the things that you're scared of. Talk to that boy or girl or whatever you're into. Don't be afraid of taking that test. Don't be afraid of failing. Go get that smoothie you want to get that you're afraid will break your bank. Don't actually break your bank, though. That's bad advice. But we hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
You've been listening to The Spot, a production of BYU-Idaho Radio. Today's hosts were Soraya Bosted and Natalie Lundquist. The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university and are solely the opinions of the hosts. This episode was edited by Natalie Lundquist. Producers were the hosts with supervision by Brandon Isle. Our theme music is Finding Happiness by DJ Quads and The Perpetual Ticking of Time by Artificial Music. To listen to more episodes of The Spot, like and follow us on social media or visit our website, byui.edu/radio, and click podcasts. Be sure to subscribe to the BYU-Idaho Radio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you get podcasts. And also leave a review of the show and leave a comment on what we should talk about next.